What would be kind of a worst case from an American perspective? What support are we getting from them that we could lose that would be problematic?
Well, it's very important logistical support. We have air bases basically have been handed over, Pakistani air bases have been handed over to U.S. control for the supply and transfer of personnel to Afghanistan in particular. And it's really about the Afghanistan front that they're worried about. And that's a very significant, would be a very significant loss, because if, for example, Pakistan said, okay, no more U.S. overflying Pakistan territory, and then the only way to get to Afghanistan would be via Central Asia, which would then put the U.S. with the leverage of leaders in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan and places like that, which is much less reliable. So because the other country bordering Afghanistan is Iran. Yeah. So that is a true, it would be a logistical nightmare, which I'm sure they would want to avoid.
Yeah. I'm sure you saw the article, the cover story of Newsweek, the October 29 issue, calling Pakistan the most dangerous nation in the world. I want to read a paragraph from it and see if you agree, get your response to it. They wrote, "Today, no other country on earth is arguably more dangerous than Pakistan. It has everything Osama bin Laden could ask for: political instability, a trusted network of radical Islamists, an abundance of angry young anti-Western recruits, secluded training areas, access to state-of-the-art electronic technology, regular air service to the West, and security services that don't always do what they're supposed to do. Unlike in Iraq or Afghanistan, there aren't thousands of American troops hunting down would-be terrorists. Then there's the country's large and growing nuclear program." Is Pakistan dangerous?
Well, it's a very interesting question. I don't think Pakistan is dangerous in terms of, they're not going to send waves of terrorists into the U.S. or into the world. Because that said, most of Pakistan is quite well controlled by the forces of law and order, so police and military in Pakistan. We're talking about a few border areas where these suicide bombings have been going on and things like that. Some parts of, it's certainly true that people can hide out in much of Pakistan.
Yeah, and this article argues that even in Islamabad, the Taliban has more access than they did in the past.
Yeah, but it's a long way from that then to the intelligence agencies sort of booking air tickets for terrorists to head off to anywhere, which is what this suggests. So I just don't see it's dangerous in that sense. There's an implication there that it's dangerous because it could explode or implode in some fashion. That it could have a jihadist takeover, and you could have some, Ahmadinejad or somebody like this taking over and doing things. I don't see that either, as I just was suggesting. And the army, it seems to me, is also in control in that fashion as well. So I think this is an overblown notion. I don't think it's certainly not, if you look at the numbers of casualties and so forth, it's nowhere near as dangerous a place to be in as any number of other parts of the world, starting with Afghanistan and Iraq, of course.
Yeah. So looking forward, what do you see as a best case or worst case scenario from a Pakistani perspective or a Western perspective?
Well, best case scenario is some sort of, now that I've won the battle, let us sit down and work out a solution which will satisfy the various political forces that exist in Pakistan. I think that even General Musharraf recognizes that he cannot run the country purely as a military operation forever. He's got to somehow work out a way of transiting to a more regular form of rule. So the best case scenario would be him sitting down, working all of that out somehow, perhaps with some compromise candidate emerging who would be not Benazir Bhutto, not Nawaz Sharif, but somebody acceptable to them who could take over that burden.
Acceptable to Musharraf?
To Musharraf, yeah.
Okay. Bhutto isn't?
I don't
kind of had his arm twisted?
Bhutto is highly problematic. Now I don't know what she thinks. I suspect that she is going to come down very firmly on the side of quote-unquote democracy and oppose these moves, in which case everyone in the political sphere, or all the parties, all the major parties, will be standing against General Musharraf at this point. Probably even significant numbers of the members of his own party, the party that he sort of created in 2002.
And it's really early to say, but it seems, based on the last few months, that popular sentiment can't favor him dismissing the Chief Justice, who became almost this rallying figure.
Well, it's awfully hard to say. No, that's true. I mean, but on the other hand, Pakistanis have, in very substantial numbers, a feeling that the military looks out for their interests and looks out for Pakistan's interest. And so they may have disapproved of his dismissal of the Chief Justice. They may even not approve of him as a leader, but that is composed of those people who don't like what he did with the Supreme Court and those people who don't like at all his alliance with the U.S. So Musharraf gets it both directions.